Hello and a warm welcome to our second community call. We are very happy that you joined, even if it's summer and nice weather and holiday time, because we think it's very important to get feedback from you, from our registered members to the work we do and to the things we offer with our platform. Some rules at the beginning: please unmute yourself, mute yourself while we're talking. At the end, we have time to talk with each other and to each other. But if you have questions, please use the chat. Questions on technical issues, but also questions on the content we present. We will pick up the questions afterwards. Yes, this webinar is recorded. As always, we have a YouTube channel, and all our webinars and calls are recorded, so you can have a look at it afterwards. We will also publish a debrief on our platform, on Planet Reuse, with all the insights and information we collected today. This is our second community call, and the objective of the call is coming together here with you in order to survey Planet Reuse community and in order to validate or invalidate the strategic planning and what would be the most valuable development for the upcoming months and beyond 2024, because that's what we are currently working on, looking a bit in the future and doing a plan for developing the platform. So our aim is to hear from you today how you use the platform and what you in particular need to further boost and scale reusable packaging in your level of playing field, in your company, in your organization, and so on. Because this is the aim of our platform. Planet Reuse is the first European online platform and network bringing together professionals to connect, learn, and to collaborate on the topic of reuse and reusable packaging solution, and to support you in your work in scaling the reuse sector in your country, in your region, and EU-wide. It is the platform's second birthday in September already, and in the last months we were busy in particular with setting up the functional features of the platform and improving them. In secondly, grow the number of registered members, and we will show some numbers later. In thirdly, setting up and perform regular formats for knowledge exchange, webinars, newsletters, insight sections, and filling up our library, and in growing our community to new regions, in particular to Eastern and South Europe. So today we want to take the time to get your feedback, how we should proceed developing Planet Reuse as a platform, and what we should focus on in the next months and coming years. Yes, and before we go to a little presentation on what we achieved in the last 6 months in particular and what our plans are, we have one question for you, and this is: who of you joined the Planet Reuse platform at last recently? So the question is, please put as an answer a month or a date when you have registered to the platform, because then we know who is the youngest member present today. And I'll leave you up with the answer for a second. And while you put the answer in the chat, I can already present you the agenda. And Audrey will share the screen in a minute. Yes, we will present some input to you, what we achieved in the last months, what we were working on, having a focus on the new countries we are working in, and then presenting our key strategies and ideas for the next 3 years. And after that, we will have time for breakout rooms, putting you together in smaller groups to discuss exactly the strategy, to discuss if this is in line with what you need to scale reuse, and also to leave you some time to get to know each other. Yes, that's basically the agenda, and we will start. You can still put in your answers in the chat. I will pick that up later, and I will start with some insights of the last couple of months. Here with us today, I forgot that, is a big part of our team. It's Marcel. Marcel, can you wave? It's Audrey, François, Anna, and Patricia, and also part of the hub coordinators we will introduce to you later. Yes, 2024 at a glance. I present you some numbers. Can you skip to the next slide already? Yes, this is just in one slide what we have on the platform. As we do not know how much you're using the platform already and how much you're interacting with it, and we also have new members here today, we thought it's a good idea to show you in a nutshell what Planet Reuse is. And maybe you go back, Audrey. We have an insight section where we publish.
Sounds like Nicole has some technical issues. She's completely gone, so maybe someone else can take over for a moment.
She wrote something.
Yes, I can pick it up just the time that she comes back. So Nicole was about to introduce you to some of the available features on the platform that you're certainly already using, but we wanted to highlight these to them as they are evolving and we add in new functionalities as we grow. So there is an insight section in which we publish any event debrief, in particular the monthly webinar debriefs that we host, as well as some events that we attend across Europe. There is also the library you might be also familiar with, where we have industry reports and a report that we think are very valuable to you. And bear in mind that in a couple months, we'll be focusing more on science-based reports. So you have some added content with more scientific approach to help you convince the world of reuse using this scientific input. We also have in progress, and you've probably already seen some changes, the forum sections, which are theme-based. And last year we narrowed to a smaller amount of themes. And we are developing these forums, and Anna will explain to you later on how we are using this forum section as well to develop our communities in Eastern Europe, but not only. We also have the marketplace. Some of you have been probably using. If not, we highly encourage you to use this section. This is a very useful place where you can share your service or request support from our community. And the last section is the hub, the groups and communities, where we have a dedicated space for each of our groups and countries to get together, share information in local languages, and get organized in their national countries. Is there anything else you want to add, maybe Marcel and Anna, while we're still waiting for Nicole? Am I missing anything?
I'm here again, I think.
Okay,
yes.
So I let see.
Very good. Thank you so much for taking over, Audrey. Sorry for the tech stuff, everybody. Yes, so this is the platform in a nutshell, and the features we have, and the features you hopefully use more in the future.
What I maybe want to add, Nicole, if I may, because we are showing the actual visible bits on the online platform, but I would like to emphasize perhaps that Planet Reuse is more than just the URL, if you will. So we are also an active network of people connected to various sectors and countries regarding reuse, which is not visible here, but we do also like to encourage people to reach out if you would like to know more about a certain topic or get in contact with solution providers they don't know, have visibility of, or are not connected to. So that's the not visible part of it, the actual network.
Yes, thanks, Marcel. And the network is growing. I will show the total numbers later. And you can skip to the next slide, Audrey. We continue to work in new countries, not on the platform yet. We started this beginning of this year, or end of last year, actually. And we started to build up communities in Poland and Estonia, and now newly also in Romania and the Czech Republic. And we have a funded project for it to, in particular, support those countries in building up reuse communities. Then we launched the first edition of the Reuse Barometer. The Reuse Barometer is a survey, is a product of getting an overview of the European reuse business and how the business is doing on the market. So it's the first edition, and we plan to work on second, third editions in the next years. The Reuse Barometer was launched on the Reuse and Refill Fair in Paris last month. We did 6 webinars in this year already on different topics, legislative topics. The PPWR was a big issue. We did a webinar on extraordinary items, extraordinary reusable packaging, like for art and pictures. And we were taking part in the Reuse and Refill Fair in Paris. So we had a booth. So we're not only working online, but sometimes we are there in real person. Yes, and if you go to the next slide, since January, this is the numbers now, since January, we gained 140 reuse solutions on the platform. We have 146 new organizations and over 150 new members. And these organizations are, for example, and I just picked randomly some new members and new names, members from Preseo, from Europlantrey, from Kaulibox, from City2C, from the Polish Zero Waste Association, from CITEO, and also from the US Environmental Agency and from Circular Economy Asia. So we are now also reaching out to above the border, beyond the borders of Europe. We put 50 new reports and studies in the library. This is reports published by other institutions, by organizations. It's covering the whole range of issues on reusable packaging, from LCAs to practical investigations to surveys, to comparisons of reusable and single-use packaging. And if you have hints for reports and studies to be published in the library, also in your national languages, we would be very great to include them there. We always provide a short summary on the reports, also when they are in other languages, and then put the summary in the library. We have 4 new hubs, and Anna will tell you about those hubs in a minute. And we have 5 new countries covered. We have 5 new countries covered within the range of our members. And they're new members from Bulgaria, Nigeria, Slovakia, Thailand, and the US. Yes, so this is at a glance what we achieved in the last 6 months. And I welcome very warm again all our new members. And now I have a look at the chat. I don't know if somebody had already a look at the chat who is our newest member and can help me with that. Any idea?
By the look of it, it's Sarah.
It's Sarah. And when did she join?
May 2024.
In May. So Sarah, you are our youngest member here in the group. Welcome to you and welcome to all the others. And also welcome, of course, to the members who already joined months ago. Yes, and now I will hand over to Anna, and she will give you a short insight on what happens in the hubs, in particular in the new countries.
Thank you for the intro. Yes, so as mentioned, we have a separate project within which we're trying to reach the countries where reuse is not yet the priority. And that project is called Reuse Goes Farther, where we try to promote the topic of reuse and bring it higher in the agenda. Yeah, as mentioned, in the countries where it's not yet that visible, not yet such a priority. And the way we are aiming to do it, how we want to do it, is by building local communities around the topic of reuse that bring various stakeholders together. So we want to facilitate people in the different countries in Central and Eastern Europe, specifically, getting together, getting to know each other, networking, so that they can then drive action on reuse locally. So the few countries shown here where we already are having some activities are obviously in Western Europe, some of the hubs we have. So we have the Dutch hub, the German hub, the Italian hub, but also recently opened the Polish hub, the Estonian hub, as well as the Georgian one, and now just brand new, the new hubs in Czech Republic and in Romania. So what it means that there is a hub means that there is a person from Planet Reuse team, and you have the group of these wonderful people here on the screen on this slide. So it means that there's a person who is responsible for building the community linked to Planet Reuse. So as mentioned, it's very much about facilitation. All these people are very much part-time, so we don't have massive resources, but we still nevertheless hope that through our actions and different activities, we can help activate the topic of reuse and make it more of a priority in these chosen countries. And if we look at the specific activities, we can go to the next slide. So what we've been trying to do, some of the activities are webinars. So the way we do international webinars in English, we also do webinars in the local language. And we've so far done 2 in Polish and 1 in Estonian. And we have upcoming ones in Czech and in Romanian later this year. And we also, as mentioned, are trying to kind of facilitate the networking and getting together of people. And even though the activities are not on a mass scale, we have had very positive feedback from the local communities that the webinars have been very useful in bringing people together and progressing the topic further. We have ambitious plans, and we are thinking of not only adding more countries and kind of broadening the activities of the hubs, but possibly also organizing an in-person event later this year. We are still kind of considering how to best go about it. So we might also get your opinions on it when we discuss the activities in the hubs. And I think this is where I will hand over back to Nicole, because you will hear more about our future plans, including the development of the local communities from my colleague Francois in a second.
Yes, thank you, Anna. And not to lose time, I just hand over to Francois and then Marcel. Both of them are going to present you our key strategies for 2025 and 2027. So that's the planning, that's our planning for the next period. And as I said, it would be most important to get the input from you if this makes sense also with your work. Francois.
Yes, thanks, Nicole. So you can go to the next slide. So Planet Reuse strategy is based on 2 pillars. The first one is to become Europe's point of reference on reusable packaging. And the second one is to enhance regional collaboration to support the design and deployment of operational reuse models. So I will detail the first pillar, and I will let Marcel present the second one. So the first pillar, becoming Europe's point of reference on reusable packaging, contains 2 items. The first one is the data studio, and the second one is the reuse academy. So you can go to the next slide. So the data studio aims at collecting, analyzing, and publishing data on the European reuse industry. So we have done this through 2 tools up to now. First, with the landscape mapping, we have mapped the reuse packaging ecosystem in 6 European countries. especially the countries in Central and Eastern Europe, where we currently lack visibility on reuse. So on those countries, we have identified the main stakeholders and leveraged this landscape mapping as a basis for kickstarting the local hubs. This year, we have also created the European Reuse Barometer. We have collected and assessed the environmental, social, and economic impact of 90 reuse solutions across Europe. And the ambition here is to publish this barometer on an annual basis in order to track the European reuse industry's evolution and to shed light on the best practices that we can see and the key challenges. The aim for the next years up to 2027 is indeed to publish the Reuse Academy, the Reuse Barometer on a yearly basis, and to make sure that we can also capitalize on what we've done with the landscape mapping and shed light on the key stakeholders we have been mapping in Central and Eastern Europe. If you go to the next slide, I'll present you the Reuse Academy. So the aim of the Reuse Academy is to disseminate knowledge on reuse on a European scale. So since its launch, Planet Reuse has hosted a webinar every month dedicated to various topics and geographies, as Nicole has shown. Planet Reuse has also created a library that gathers an extensive number of knowledge pieces, such as impact studies, business cases, life cycle analysis. And Planet Reuse has also created some online forums that Audrey has shown you that enables members to have discussions on dedicated topics, such as legislation, standardizations, and consumer perspective. So to capitalize on this work and to go further, the aim for the next years is to consolidate this knowledge and to structure it in training modules that would enable anyone to learn about reuse and refill. So in order to do that, so we aim at consolidating this knowledge and creating dedicated MOOCs that would be available to anyone. And to make this knowledge more concrete, we also want to create learning expeditions. The aim would be to meet reuse and refill solutions throughout Europe. This would enable people to see exactly what is reuse, what are reuse and refill solutions, to further connections and collaborations. So this is all for the first pillar, and Marcel, I'll let you present the second one.
Yes, thank you, Francois. So hi everyone, good to meet you. Good to meet you again for quite a few of you. And welcome new members, obviously. So the second pillar of our plans looking forward is partially based on what we've been doing since the beginning, which is to support with knowledge and expertise and the network, the transition from single-use packaging to reusables. And that could be obviously on a business level. So whether you're a startup or a scale-up or even a fast-moving consumer goods company that wants to move to reusables but don't really know how to. It could be communities that feel that, hey, we want to get rid of a lot of the littering and waste. What solutions do we have? So that's the reuse communities. We've been looking at the hubs that we've been creating in several countries. The main thinking here is that when there is energy and knowledge available and synergies happening in a certain country, we can help by adding knowledge that might be missing, by facilitating through a hub on the platform. But ideally, these communities should somehow build and propel themselves. At the same time, we do notice it is not the same level of development and awareness on the challenges and possibilities of reusable packaging throughout Europe, which is our main focus in a way. So this is why we had the program Reuse Goes Further, to help communities set up and get started. But one of the things we notice, and then I'll go to the second part of what I show here, is that legislation is zooming in on reuse as a strategy, packaging and packaging waste regulation that is definitely having reuse as a focus is helping, I would say, in awareness and people interested in reusable packaging, but I think there's lots more to come. So that brings us to the second part of what I would like to talk to you about, which would be the acceleration program. Oh, there's a slide that I missed, sorry, yeah. Well, we can stay on the acceleration program. That's fine. So the idea with this is, as I said before, right, where there's energy and willingness to investigate the possibilities of moving from single-use to reusable packaging, we help that. The platform being the visibility of reuse solutions throughout your own country or even outside your country borders. Planet Reuse, if you check the solutions section, you will see many hundred solution providers. And obviously, you know, Googling, you will find some, but here we have everything on one page. But finding a name of an organization is one thing, you know, knowing where the synergies lie, where the challenges are, etc., would be the next one, which is why we have as a vision to support organizations make this transition to reuse, or speed it up, scale it up, lower the costs, take away barriers, whether legislative or consumer behavior or purely logistics and even financial. I mean, I do need to say here, perhaps to manage expectations, the extent of the acceleration program does obviously depend on the level of funding that Planet Reuse itself can secure. But our dream would be to also have an acceleration program where we can hand out, you know, you could call it a voucher or expertise time that you as an organization can book with the Planet Reuse team to brainstorm on challenges of reuse solutions that are out there, connect with similar stakeholders as we've been doing a few times in the past, where we bring startups in reusable packaging from different countries together and you know, share their knowledge. I think there's a lot of reinventing of the wheel throughout Europe and globally probably, and you know, we'd like to speed up the transition. So what we try to do here is help with this transition. I'm guessing, but I'm not 100% certain. Yeah, I'm guessing it's about time, right? So I'll leave it with that. Any questions, obviously just reach out. You know, you can find us on LinkedIn or on the platform, obviously. And with that, I'll hand it over or back to Nicole.
Yes, thank you, Francois and Marcel. We know that this was very brief now, a very short introduction to the 4 pillars we want to follow up in the next months. And we want to particularly talk with you about the 2 last things, about the acceleration program and the communities, the hubs, and how to build them. And yeah, I now leave you to the breakout rooms. We will have 4 breakout rooms, and the questions you are going to discuss within the breakout rooms are the following. Maybe you can go 1 slide further because there we have the question already. It's general comments to our strategy. That means, do you think that's a good idea? Do you think there are things missing? Do you want to add something? Is there something where they know we don't need this anymore to scale reusable packaging in Europe? Is there any ideas also on funding, because we are still looking for funding for the program? Does it fit to the needs of your country and your business, your organization? Second question is get input from you to the development of reuse communities. And the third is get input from you to the reuse acceleration program. So that was the idea of certification and so on reusable packaging business themes. Yes, and we have 4 rooms now with 4 moderators. It will be Francois, Marcel, Anna, and Patricia moderating the rooms. We will take notes for you so you can just concentrate on getting to know each other and discussing the things. And Audrey will start the breakout rooms right now. We have 20 minutes and then we come back in the big room. Hello, back in the big room. Yes, I think at least in our group, the conversation could have gone on a bit more, but we got very great input. I just do a short, very short summary round throughout the 3 breakout rooms we had. Just maybe pointing out some highlights you heard, some feedback you got. And maybe, I don't know, if possible, we can share the mirror boards because we were taking notes, but we don't necessarily have to. Audrey, I don't know if it's happening. Maybe Anna, in your group, are you doing the short summary or who is doing it?
Yeah, Marcel, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I think we had some very nice discussions, and obviously, as always, the time flew by. Oh, I'm getting some interesting thing on my screen. We're trying to show the meal. Sorry, I'll not be distracted what's happening on the background. But I think what we had partially was, I would say, from my perspective, confirming a number of things that we are already doing and have been doing with Planet Reuse. But also some very interesting insights on, what would help us move further, whether it is for startups, doing the connecting, matchmaking that we've been doing on a small scale could be something we continue forward with, as it does the Reuse Academy. So let's see, free consulting sessions, for example, or training modules. And I'm just checking some of my notes. Definitely there was interest in and appreciation, I would say, for the program that we're doing in Central and Eastern Europe, which you might summarize as parts of the European reuse market that are not so actively developing their solutions and strategies. It would help if we kickstart those. Just looking at the post-its, but I think that kind of summarizes it in a minute or two. And I'll hand it over to the other group in the last 3 minutes we have.
Is it Francois? Yeah, or is it Patricia or someone else?
Yeah, I can speak. So in our breakout room, we had some interesting insight as well. One that I particularly liked was on B2B. So that we need to highlight more B2B businesses or networking so that it's easier to connect B2B. We do tend to focus a lot on like webinars, for example, on B2C. So having more, easier way to find or filter B2B partners would be valuable. Another topic would be to connect more and learn more from each other, also in the European level, and ways to do that. So having meetings or having best practices, and learning how to bring people more into reuse was another topic that we discussed. So yeah, we do see that some members do need to explore more the platform. So I think it's up to us to also make that process easier and how to highlight the different features of the platform. Making that all clear and visible in the platform would help them a lot.
Thank you. Yes, some people left us already, so thank you for everybody who's still staying, because our last part is to do a little voting, and Audrey is just sharing the voting. On the 4 pillars we presented before, we know that's not representative in this group now because we have more than 1,200 members and only some of them are here today. But it still would be nice to get a first impression. What do you think is the most important point of those 4 ideas we had? And Audrey, can you share the voting? Otherwise, we just do it with hands. There it is. You can have 1 vote. So the question is, do you think we should focus on reuse communities, national, regional hubs, building up communities there? Do you think we should focus on the reuse acceleration program, doing courses, certificates, and so on? On the Reuse Academy, for example, building up a massive open course on reusable packaging. And last, on the Reuse Data Studio, so that would include the reuse barometer and landscape mapping and so on. So we are also to vote, is it?
It's showing the results without, we didn't vote. I don't know if you can go back, Audrey, so that we can, so that it's open for voting.
Yeah, that's true. Otherwise, we just do it hand by hand. Let's open voting then. So who is,
Chat, if
you have
not
one
everyone
vote.
is
You
using
have to
Yeah.
decide.
Just write in the chat.
Yeah, because not everyone's using the camera, so it will be.
Yeah. So just one vote. Write down the one word you would give your vote on if you have to dedicate all your money and capacities to one thing. What would it be? Ah, there
Oh,
it is. Now we
that's
can do
obvious
it
one.
properly.
Ah, wow.
And when everybody's done, I guess we also see the results.
Guess we have to work on all of them.
And results yet? Otherwise, you all have to read the debrief because we will. Ah, there it is. Ah, okay. I expected something like this, and that's why we have these 4 pillars, because we also thought, okay, all 4 parts are quite important to continue. But to be honest, we really have to see how to do it, and if you have any hints for us also on how to fund this, please reach out to us. But thanks for the vote. It's a bit in the direction of, yes, we have further reuse communities and work on that. But the other 2 are also not less important, I would say. Thank you very much. Yes, thanks for joining. We have 4 o'clock. Thanks for your input. We will have a debrief. We will look at the notes and also talk to each other within the team how to proceed and process those information we got from you today. Thank you so much for your input. And yes, we see the next webinar on the 18th of July, and it is about reusable packaging at events. So in particular, also for municipalities, for communities going into this topic, but also for everybody who wants to work, how it works on practice in different kind of events. Thanks so much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.